How's it going out there in YouTube land? Cyberneticshark here with another new video just for you. So let's get right into this video review and see what's about. This last Friday, I had the chance of going and seeing the awesome new action comedy film, The Hitman's Bodyguard. Now, The Hitman's Bodyguard is an awesome action comedy flick that is directed by Patrick Hughes. Now, Patrick Hughes also directed a couple other great films. One in particular is actually a Australian neo-western noir type of kind of action film called Red Hill that was made in 2010. It actually starred Ryan Catawan, that was in True Blood, Sookie Sookhouse's brother from the show True Blood. Another film that Patrick Hughes directed was the awesome, excellent sequel, The Expendables 3. Oh yeah, with awesome Sylvester Stallone. I was actually shocked. I did not realize that it was him that had directed Expendables 3 when I went and saw Hitman's Bodyguard. And I was really shocked because it totally had the same kind of vibe and feel like Expendables 3 had. And I felt that it was just like actiony and awesome as the Expendables 3 was. I was really, really impressed with his direction. And I thought he did a great job of directing the film as well, as we're going on with it. Because I feel that he actually did really well with making the chemistry of the film work very well. He did a good job of, making certain, points in the film where you really understood what was going on, and it ran so smoothly. It was really impressive. He did a really good job with the film. So this movie stars some excellent, awesome people. Of course, the big number one star that we know that's in it is Mr. Ryan Reynolds. Now, Ryan Reynolds, you might know from a slew of different movies over the last 20 years. And he's done a lot of different types of, comedy type films. He's done action films. He's done thrillers, dramas. I mean, he's done everything. And I feel that a couple of his really good movies of suggestion, or I should say that he has worked on, that some people, or most people might know, are such films as the awesome 2009 film, The Proposal, with Sandra Bullock. Now, that was a really awesome film and just hilarious, and it really showed Ryan's, acting talent, that you kind of laughed your butt off at, and it really showed, what you were going to come into when you saw The Hitman's Bodyguard. He's a great actor. He also was in another awesome film called Just Friends. Now, Just Friends has an awesome cast, too. It has Amy Smart in it. It has the awesome Mr. the best actor ever, Ryan Reynolds himself. Ha, you thought I was going to say somebody else, didn't you? Anyways, the awesome Amy Smart film was really good too. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. Such worth a watch. But it's so stinking funny, and Ryan's kind of deadpan, kind of satirical, very straight-laced kind of humor. It really is brought out in this, and in Just Friends, it really was like a prelude to what it was like in The Hitman's Bodyguard, and it was awesome. He's such an amazing actor. I think he's awesome. Love him as Deadpool, and he just is an awesome addition to this film. He plays the great new, main character so well. He really worked well with Samuel L. Jackson. They all worked so well together, and there were some scenes in the film, he just was so stinking funny. Particularly the scene where he's, after a particular thing happens, he goes and he's, having a drink. And he basically is talking to the bartender, and he's, telling him, he's like, this man literally has ruined the word motherfucker. You just start losing it. It's so stinking funny. You're just, laughing so hard. I was absolutely just, laughing my butt off in the theater watching this, because it was just so stinking funny. Ryan Reynolds, he's the best, man. Love that guy. We also have in the film, as I mentioned before, Mr. Samuel L. Jackson. Now, Samuel L. Jackson you might recognize from a slew of films over the last 30-plus years as well. But a few I feel that are some really good films of his are such films as the 1996 film The Negotiator with Kevin Spacey. That was a really interesting and good film. Probably one of the first films that I actually recall recognizing Samuel L. Jackson in. Even though I had seen Jurassic Park before this, I wasn't really paying attention that that was Samuel L. Jackson. But in The Negotiator, that was like the first movie I recognized him in. And it was like, okay, that's the first movie I saw him as I recognized him. Not like, even though I saw him in previous films, it's like, oh yeah, that's him in that film. I'm like, huh? But anyways, he is awesome in that film. Another good one if you haven't seen it. He also was in another great film around the same time frame in 1996 called A Time to Kill. Now, this awesome film stars Matthew McConaughey and Sandra Bullock as well. And just, it's a really good, like, thriller type of film. And drama film. It was one of his best, I feel, that really showed what he could work with, how good of an actor Sam Jackson is. And he's no stranger to, film industry, but him being in this film was really fun. And his character was really funny in the film. I mean, he uses the word motherfucker so many times in this film, and it's absolutely funny because every time he says it, you just cannot help but not to laugh because you're like, I don't know what it is, but when he says it, you're just like he says it, and all of a sudden you're like, like I can't, I cannot help but laugh. And so he was wonderful in the film. Really worked well with Ryan Reynolds. I felt, like I said about Ryan Reynolds, and they really toned off each other. They really bounced, and that chemistry was really awesome and made the film really good. We also have in the film a actress named Elodie Yung. Now, Elodie Yung is a French actress model, and she really hasn't been in too many things. And unfortunately, she really doesn't have huge credits. But her addition in the film, I thought, was really well done. I really liked her as the ex-flame that he blames, and the kind of chemistry they worked with in the film. And she plays like a really good, like, straight-laced FBI, CIA type of agent. Kind of like a badass, but at the same time, she's a little bit vulnerable. And I thought she played good with the role. I thought she did a good job. She had, some interesting, some dialogue in the film, and she did the part really well, and I enjoyed her in it. We also have in the film the awesome, the excellent, the amazing Mr. Gary Oldman. Now, Gary Oldman has been around for 30 plus years as well, and has made so many awesome, amazing films. And some of the ones that come to mind for me are, just ones that I feel that he exploded in and really showed his talent. The first one that comes to mind is the awesome, excellent 1994 film, Leon the Professional. Now, his acting ability was really shown in this film, and he played such an amazing bad guy. And, whenever he plays a bad guy, you kind of know he's going to a little bit, but at the same time, you're like, when you see him when he's not a bad guy, you're like, holy crap, that's the same guy. But in The Professional, he was just so amazing, and he brought that same vigor and talent into the Hitman's Bodyguard. He was just so stinking good in this film. But The Professional, if you have not seen it, Leon the Professional, go check it out. It's so worth the watch. One of Natalie Portman's first films. She was so amazing in it. Just an all-around amazing film. Directed by Luc Besson, too, if you didn't know that. Another film that comes to mind for Gary Oldman for me is another awesome role where I feel he didn't get enough recognition for. And I feel he should have gotten more recognition for this role because it was a really good role, but at the same time, you're like, it's a horror film, he was good in it, but, he still, I don't know if he should get as much credit for it because it's only been done a billion times. And that's Bram Stoker's Dracula. Now, Bram Stoker's Dracula, is probably one of the first Dracula films I feel that they really embraced the Stoker, story. And they really brought it to life in this film. And I thought they did a really good job. And Gary Oldman, I don't feel, got enough credit. Even though he was, touted for it, I don't think he got enough credit for what he really put into it. and he was amazing in that. And once again, that acting ability he brought into the Hitman's Bodyguard and just made it an awesome bad guy role in this movie. His character really is just all around well rounded and just a really badass. And you know his accent in the film is really fun too, because it's very authentic sounding, even though he's not of any type of ethnicity with a accent. But at the same time, you're like, you really believe he is that that nationality, because he's so good at doing the voiceover, the accent. And he did a really good job in the film. He was a great bad guy. It wasn't the hugest part in the film, but it still was a fun and good ride, and he was a great addition to the film and made the whole movie rounded. We also have in the film the gorgeous, the beautiful Salma Hayek in this film. Now, I did not realize that she was actually in this film, and so when I saw her pop up, I was cracking up, because her as the lover of Samuel L. Jackson in the film, I couldn't believe it. I thought it was the most funniest duo, and they played so amazing off each other. It was so stinking funny. So funny. But she was really good in the film. She was amazing. I really enjoyed her in it. I thought the whole, talking like Samuel L. Jackson in the film, because they're, such a unique duo together, it was so stinking funny. And, she's just fun to watch, too, because she's so funny and so beautiful. But, she is known for such great films as the awesome true biopic of Frida. Now, Frida was a true based story film that was about this woman named Frida who was famous. I can't remember exactly for what reason, but I remember watching the film and thinking, wow, this is an interesting film, interesting story about this woman. And remembering that Salma Hayek did an amazing job playing the character. But Frida is an interesting story. And if you ever get a chance to check that film out, definitely do. It's really worth a watch. But we also know awesome Salma Hayek from is the Grown Up series, too, as Adam Sandler's wife, which is such a funny and hoot. Oh my gosh, so stinking funny. So hilarious. Absolutely loved her in those movies, too. But like I said, she was a great addition to this film. She was hilarious. She was a great part of the group. Made the whole movie whole. And just some of the scenes, there's this one scene where she is talking to these guards at the prison that she's in, and they're talking. They're trying to get her to tell them where Samuel L. Jackson is, and she just goes on this rant, and it's just absolutely hilarious because you kind of understand her and kind of don't because of her thick Spanish accent, but at the same time you do understand it, and she's she's talking a little faster and faster as she goes along, but starts laughing at things. It was just hysterical. I was laughing so hard at that scene. It was so much fun. All around, The Hitman's Bodyguard was an amazing film. I give this one a giant 10 golden movie boxes up. I can't say good enough about this film. I thought it was so well done, so funny, so many great one-liners. One of the best lines I have to say is when we were in the theaters and we started cracking up so loud is Samuel Jackson wakes up after he's lost some blood and he's been given blood, and all of a sudden he wakes up and he's in these different clothes, and Ryan Reynolds explains to him that he dressed him, and he's going through saying the clothes that he's wearing. He's like, do I have underwear on too? And he's like, yeah, and he's talking about how the underwear is what are these briefs or something? He's like, yeah, and he's like, that's all I had. And he's like, it's called hanging dicks for a reason, and we just lost it in the theater. It was so stinking funny. If you have not seen this film, definitely check it out, people. It is so stinking funny and fun. Really great film. Like I said, giant 10 golden movie boxes up. Can't wait for this to come out in Blu-ray or 4K. Definitely a must-see. Definitely a must-buy, too. Just all-around fun film. So if you haven't seen The Hitman's Bodyguard yet, basically what the premise of the film is Ryan Reynolds plays this bodyguard guy, and he does big bodyguard type of work for all kinds of higher-ups, big shots, and stuff like that. Well, unfortunately, he has a day where he loses a client from someone, and so basically it puts him into a downward spiral, and he basically ends up blaming his girlfriend for everything that, you know, he told her about him, and you know and that's the reason why it was compromised, and basically has taken menial jobs since in the bodyguard field. Well, he ends up having to be called by his ex-girlfriend to help her out with a type of bodyguard situation for the character of Samuel L. Jackson, who plays this contract hitman, who is going to testify against Gary Oldman's character to get him, you know, put into jail. And so basically the rest of the film is basically about Ryan Reynolds and Samuel L. Jackson trying not to kill each other and try to get to their destination so that he can testify against Gary Oldman. So, really awesome premise, I thought. I thought it was a really funny idea. Really awesome. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out, people. It's such a worth a watch. Awesome premise. Oh, yeah. So that's it for this movie review, guys. As always, I appreciate you guys watching. As always, please like, subscribe, share. You know, share this with your friends. Let them know. Check out this guy. He's fun. And as always, keep your eyes out for any newer, older videos you might not have seen mine yet. And as always, catch you next one.